Hello everyone. In this video today, we'll be discussing the society part of the GS1 mains paper. Now this year, society weightage in GS1 was around 75 marks. And if we analyze the past few exams, let's say from the 2013 when this part was introduced, the portion has been gradually increasing. Yes, in 2017 there was the weightage was decreased, but if you see average we can take that over 4 years it has been around 65 to 70 marks. So please start taking this portion very seriously. And yes, everybody thinks that you can write a generic answer and score marks, which is partially correct. Like if you write a generic answer, maybe you will be getting out of 10 maybe 4 marks. But in every GS paper, you need to be very specific. And if you write those specific points, those keywords, you're bound to get more marks. So I would suggest that you should read a few sources like the NCRT of class 11th and just a selective reading, and especially the class 12 sociology book, which talks about the Indian society in particular. And I am also planning to make few videos on society syllabus. Do let me know in the comment section if you want me to do so. Anyhow, let's proceed with the video. Now, the first question was, caste system is assuming new identities and associational form. Hence, caste system cannot be eradicated in India. Comment. Now, this is a quite a extraordinary, I would say, a very negative statement. Like it cannot be eradicated, and you have to give your own views. You have to comment on this. So ideally, the form to start the answer would be to write the definition of a caste system. So caste system is basically a system of stratification. Now I'll tell you what is stratification. Stratification is basically placing social groups in a hierarchical order. Like in our caste system, this first Brahmins comes, then there's Kshatriyas, then there's Vaishyas, Shudras, and we even have which we call the Dalit. Then now, if we see the salient features of the caste system, it mainly pertains to the hereditary occupation. Like if you are a Brahmin, you're born in a Brahmin category, then you will be a priest. And if then there are some commensals rule in the caste system, like from whom you can accept certain kind of food, and then with whom you can sit or talk like this. Then the interdining can be done. So these are some of the traditional rules which revolve around the caste system. And then there are connubial rules. Connubial rules mean the marriage rules, to whom one person belonging to one caste or jati can marry. So these rules. Now this is the traditional form of the caste system. But under the forces of modernization, education, and obviously urbanization, industrialization, so this caste system is also going through a change. It is adapting itself to new identities and association forms. And this is the demand of the question. So in the introduction, you've explained what is caste system, what is its traditional role. Now the main demand of the answer is talking about its new identities and associational forms. Now, how it is adapting itself. First would be the caste association. Like you may be aware of certain caste associations in your locality also, like a Mahajan Sabha or Agrawal Sanstha. So basically, in its traditional role, it was mainly concerned with the gathering or passing some rules their own community. But if we see in the present scenario, it has become a tool of political organization, and also it has been acting as an interest group. For example, there is a Mahajan Sabha. It consists of main traders. It's a caste of traders, and it may use its caste as being an interest group. So this is a new form which the caste system is taking place. Then next is, similarly we can say that there are caste-based political parties. For example, BSP, it is a political party which is based on, its follower consists mainly of the Dalits. Now, if you see in the traditional structure, it was before the electoral politics, and these political parties were not there. So, after the introduction of the electoral politics, caste has adapted itself and turned itself into a caste-based political parties, which act as a vote bank, as a political power reservoir also. So this is the new adaptation. The third very important thing is the concept of dominant caste. Now, many of you who are not of the sociological background may think like that what is a dominant caste. Now, this is a very important term, and I think everybody should know, irrespective of his or her um optional subject. A dominant caste is a caste which has a numerical strength and yields a political and economic power. It operates mostly at the village level, at a very local level. For example, if we see Yadavs in UP, ritually they are not placed very high. They come in the Shudra. They are the agriculturist caste. They come in the Shudra category. But in UP, they have a very high political clout and power. This is because of the numbers they have, the amount of land they hold there. So it means that the caste has adapted itself when it used to be very rigid in the traditional form. Now, with the forces of modernization, there have been education, then after independence, there were some land reforms. These dominant castes, like the Yadavs in UP or Patels in Gujarat, they've acquired land as well as power. Now they are using, now these castes have become as a power reservoir. Mainly, they are the main power holders in the that local area or the local village level or the city level. So this is a new form of the caste. Now, lastly, the lower caste have been using their caste identity as a source of assertion. Now, traditionally, if we see for low caste, the caste status used to be a taboo. It's still there, but if we see that today in the form of political parties, or if we see in the recently there was in news the Beam Army, the low castes are asserting their caste and using it as a caste identity to vie for more power. So the caste has adapted itself in the lower caste as well. Now, we have to give a very balanced answer. You've told that yes, the caste has taken new forms. Now, the second part of the question said that the caste system cannot be eradicated. So you have to give a balance in a very positive view. You say it's okay, yes, it has adapted itself. New associational forms have been formed, and but that doesn't mean that the caste system cannot be eradicated. Or you can say that it is no longer as strong as a system of stratification as it was before. There are some cleavages which are appearing. Now, again, you have to give some points to elucidate your point of view. So you can talk about occupation, which is no longer associated with caste. Like today, for example, a Brahmin may be working in a leather factory or in a shoe shop. The Brahmin can be working there as a salesperson. Now there is breakdown of Jajmani system. Now Jajmani system is something, was a kind of economic system in the traditional India. Like in this system, what was like the higher caste was the Jajman, and the service caste like the goldsmith or the blacksmiths or the dhobis, they were the common. They used to provide them services, and in return they would get something in kind, like maybe wheat or food for a day, something like that. So it was kind of a barter system which was known as Jajmani, in which the Jajman was from the higher caste and the Kamin who used to provide the service was from the service caste. So there has been a breakdown. Now this kind of barter system we rarely see in India in the present times. Now third is the commensal rules, which do not apply from day-to-day interaction, like in today the private sector or in the government offices itself also. This is a common canteen. Everybody sits there, everybody shares their food, so there are no commensal rule that okay, this area is for Brahmins, this is for the Kshatriyas. No, it's not there. Then the intercaste marriages are slowly becoming acceptable, at least in the urban area. Before that, intercaste marriages were a big no-no. There was only endogamy, which was taking place. In the, we can say, now also it is also prevalent, but still there has been a breakthrough and intercaste marriages are becoming slowly acceptable. Then lastly, education is no longer limited to higher caste. Now with the independence and the introduction of reservation system, etc. Now, traditionally the education was only limited to the Brahmins or the Kshatriyas. Now it is also percolated to the lower caste as well. And so in this way you can state that it's not that it cannot be eradicated. The cleavages have been started to appear. Yes, it has adapted to some new forms, but still some of the older rules have started disintegrating. So this can be your conclusion that even though caste is assuming new forms, but on other hand, cleavages have started appearing in structure, and with increase in education, forces of modernization and power of our constitution, a society will surely witness its complete eradication. So it gives a very positive view. You cannot say, okay, this is a social evil, it cannot be eradicated, and this is not expected you as a civil servant. Your answer should always be very positive. Now there is a very famous quote by a sociologist. You can quote if you want that India's destiny is not cast in stone. So you can end your answer in this way. It gives a very positive view. So let's move on to the next question. How the Indian concept of secularism is different from Western model of secularism discussed. Now, firstly, this is a repeat question, and I think it has been already asked in 2014. So that is why writing all the previous year questions of mains is very important. There are certain topics which will get repeated in one form or the other. So you may try the old question papers and solve them. We are also giving you videos of all the question papers. You can check out the GS1. So it may help you in the next mains. Now, secularism. Keep one thing in mind, whenever there is a word called ism, it means an ideology. So secularism is defined as an ideology, a simple ideology which means separation of state from religious institution. It's a simple concept. Now, if we see the Indian concept of secularism, it differs somewhat from the Western concept of secularism. Now, first point, its origin. Right from the beginning, Indian secularism drew its strength from the pluralism. Pluralism is presence of many religions, multi-religious society. An Indian concept of secularism, was not opposition of religion, but related to communalism. I'll explain this. Now, we can say the genesis of the Indian concept started with the freedom struggle. The leadership of the freedom struggle, they had to devise a principle that would be capable of holding together people who subscribed to different faiths. There were many India was a multi-religious society. Now we have to bind them together. We need a concept. So secularism arose from there, and Indian secularism was like this. Was never collided with the religion or the religious authority. On the contrary, it drew upon it to reinforce the political process, basically. Okay. Now, if we see in Europe is a mono-religious society. Christianity is the main religion. The secularism was not opposite to communalism. Like, it was not devised to keep all the religions together or bind them, but it was to separate the state from church. There were quite a lot of conflict between the state and church. So the Western society thought, let's devise a concept in which there can be a strict wall of separation between the state from church. So you can see the origin of the Indian concept and the Western concept, they are entirely different. Now, second point is, in the Indian concept of secularism, It stands for equidistance from the religion. Like there is we see in the Western concept, there is a strict wall of separation, and it's kind of indifference to religion. But if you see the Indian concept, you can say there is a wall, but with a door through which only state can enter into the religious domain for reforms. Our constitution also provides for it, like opening of the temples and public places for the low caste. So there is a scope of state reforms. You can include in your next point this point also, that our concept is compatible with the state-sponsored reform. For example, removal of untouchability or upliftment of women. Now, the Western concept, on the other hand, do not include this concept of state-sponsored reforms. For example, if church prescribes that the head has to be a male, then it has to be a male. The state cannot tell no, okay, that there should be upliftment of women, the head priest or the pope should be women also. So the state will there's no concept of state-sponsored reforms. Then lastly, our concept, the Indian concept of secularism, is closely related to the protection of minorities, and it's an important concept. There are provision in constitution also related to the minorities, and there is positive discrimination. On the other hand, if we see in the Western concept of secularism, there is no such concept. And in short, if we have to, and we can say that in Indian concept, the constitution is the major document which tells about the nature of secularism in India. And you can conclude that secularism as a concept in India is related more to humanity and its secular interest rather than religion and its authority. So it's a simple question. If you know these 3-4 points, you can easily, if you show it in a tabular form, it will surely have a good impact on the examiner, and you can easily score 6 to 7 marks in your answer. Now, the next question, 3 more questions are left, I think. I'll be continuing in the next video. And do like, comment, and share this video and subscribe to this channel. And you can also check out the other GS1 parts, that is the history and the geography. Thank you.